Hey everyone, what's going on? Thank you for tuning into the stream, whether you're tuning in live or after the fact. I'm joined by three awesome people today, where we're going to be discussing all around kind of Doctor Strange. But yeah, firstly, let me introduce my guests. First one is the absolute living legend, or the GOAT, whatever you want to refer to this guy as, the master of the YouTubers, supporting YouTubers community, and that is Anthony A. Perez. So Anthony, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Well, damn, that's a hell of a freaking intro. Yes, I did start YouTubers supporting YouTubers on Facebook, but yeah, I'm glad to have brought a bunch of people together. It's good to be on a live stream for the first time in a hot minute.
Yeah, man, it's been a while, and I've been trying to get you on for a stream for a while, but obviously, schedules and stuff kind of conflict. But yeah, great to have you here. And then next up, we've got a man who is an absolute avid fan of the Hulk, and he will smash through any reviews, and that is Rashad G Reviews. Rashad, how you doing, man?
What's up, man? Feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Ready to get into this. And, yeah, what more can I say, man? Let's go.
Awesome. And yeah, man, pleasure to have you on the stream. And then lastly, we've got a very underrated YouTuber, and he's come from the rendered multiverse, and that is Tyler Babb. Tyler, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you, Mike?
Yeah, man, doing good. And it's a pleasure to have Tyler here, because this is the first time Tyler is joining me on a live stream as well. So yeah, pleasure to have you. And yeah, I believe we're here today to rip on Rise of Skywalker. Is that right?
If you want to pivot that direction, let's make it happen.
And he's gone offline. But no, guys, just kidding. We're here to talk about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is due to come out on May 6th or 5th, or on Thursday here in the UK. Do you guys in America get it on Thursday as well?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, cool. So yeah, let's just kind of get into this. So before we kind of start, just want to let everyone know we're going to be touching on like stuff that's been seen in trailers, stuff that's been touched on like TV spot trailers as well. So if you haven't seen any of those whatsoever and you know nothing about this movie, we're going to be touching on maybe some characters that's been revealed. So that is your kind of spoiler warning right now. But I tell you what, Perez, we're going to start with you. Have you, because I know you're kind of like a comic guy, so have you read comics about Doctor Strange in the past?
Oh yeah, plenty. And I think some of the most fun stuff about the movies nowadays is that, those things that you only ever saw in comic books are coming to fruition. You know what I mean? I remember the first time sitting there and watching, the first Avengers film and thinking, wow, this is happening. And to be this far into the franchise where we have things like Infinity War and Endgame, where you have these random characters all together, it's a dream come true. So you always looked forward to those kind of collaboration things, crossovers in the comics. So to have a Doctor Strange movie at this point that has Wanda in it, that is finally leaning into the fact that she's gonna, be Scarlet Witch. Obviously, WandaVision really established that, but like I've been dying for them to do that ever since they introduced her in Age of Ultron. And right. So to just have this movie with all these characters and all these cameos that are being rumored, and yeah, it's amazing because the comics have definitely played with stuff like this. Sometimes the comics can do it a little bit messy because it's just like panels of pages that just feels like they're just kind of slapping on like cameos in there, and it's fun to just kind of read. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they end up doing. And to answer your question, yes, I have read plenty of Doctor Strange comics, or comics that feature Doctor Strange that maybe are central on a different character. And yeah, they're always a lot of fun. Some of them suck, but they're pretty good for the most part.
Yeah, and man, that's one thing I love, like whenever we talk about a superhero movie that's been on at the cinema, because me and Perez talk pretty much like every day, and I was like, oh, this is my opinion of the movie. He's like, well, this happens in the comics, and you always have like that different perspective, and I really admire that for like people like yourself. Tyler, what about you? Do you read the comics as well, or?
Yeah, I've read a couple Doctor Strange comics, and my people are Daredevil and Spider-Man. Those are like my. Daredevil's my favorite. Daredevil, Captain America, Spider-Man, those are my guys. So
nice.
Right. Awesome. And Rashad, do you read comics? Because I don't know I think you read certain ones, right?
Yeah, I was a big fan back in the 90s. That's when I started. That's when I collected most of my comics, and then over time I kind of fell back. But yeah, lately in the past couple of years I've been getting into the graphic novels more. But I've never read a Doctor Strange comic, but I've read a lot of comics where Doctor Strange was featured in it. So, like, I know he was part of the Avengers at one point, the Defenders, and he would pop up every now and then in a Spider-Man comic, but I never actually read a Doctor Strange book before, so I really don't know a lot about the character. So even when the movie came out, I almost didn't care. I think I watched the first Doctor Strange maybe like once in its entirety because I had to, because it's MCU, but I really don't know much about the character. But yeah, with this movie, yeah, I'm definitely excited because okay, it's the multiverse, and you know what I'm saying, I just you know, like if it's going off the coattails of Spider-Man No Way Home and that was so good, and it's continue that multiverse thing, I'm interested. You know what I'm saying? Like Perez said, you know, with Wanda finally becoming Scarlet Witch, I'm like, okay, that's what's up. But other than that, I don't too much care for Doctor Strange. Like Tyler, you know, we cool because you said Daredevil. He's one of my favorites, so we here. You know, Daredevil, Hulk,
Daredevil's
Spider-Man,
underrated,
and Batman.
bro.
Like those are the main motherfuckers, man. Doctor Strange.
I don't think I've ever met anybody that's like, yeah, Doctor Strange is my guy.
Nah.
It's funny that you say that.
But in the movies, but in the movies, he's cool because Benedict Cumberbatch plays him so good. Where like, okay, I can get with this character, but just as a character, Doctor Strange, I don't give a shit about him.
I know a few people that are really big into Doctor Strange, and there's a friend I have on Facebook. I haven't seen him in person in quite some time, but he has a huge Doctor Strange tattoo on the front of his shin.
Wow.
And yeah, I guess look, we even got a comment from a Doctor Strange YouTube channel.
Somebody's gonna get mad at me.
Snap.
Oh wow, okay. Okay. Well, I'll show that comment very quickly. Yeah, so it says here, John.
Oh, I think it's spoilers.
They are spoiling.
Yeah, they're
pretty hard.
spoiling it.
Okay.
He's a troll, man. Yeah.
Spamming with
Get him out of there.
Okay. Well, I've blocked them. So.
Well, thank you for the view, person. But we.
Yeah. Thank you.
We don't.
So yeah. So anyway. Yeah. So that Doctor Strange person like with the tattoo on their shin, that's pretty cool. I'd love to see that. So yeah, I think we've all kind of got like a different background in terms of like Marvel and comics and stuff like that. I've personally never read any of the comics, so I just take it as like kind of like film kind of face value and see how that kind of plays out. So I'll tell you what, we'll start with Rashad. So Rashad, what's your anticipation being like for this new movie, and what's the thing that you're most looking forward to in Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness?
I'm just ready to see what surprises they have as far as what they're gonna give us as far as you know, new additions, because you know, in No Way Home we got like all the Spider-Man villains and stuff. So okay, now if they say Multiverse of Madness is supposed to be No Way Home but times like 20 as far as the surprises and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, I'm assuming they're gonna incorporate a lot of things from the What If episodes and like all the stuff that we've seen on the shows up until now and put that in there. I'm assuming, because like right now, dog, the MCU is kind of like all over the place, but I guess that's kind of a good thing. But it's kind of like there's just so much going on right now, where before, like in the phase 1 and 2, it was much more simpler to follow. And it's like now, unless you're like a diehard Marvel fan, you're really not going to know what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like to the casual moviegoer, to the casual, you know, Marvel fan, you're going to be like, what the fuck is all this? But like to us, yeah, okay, I'm ready to see, are we going to get Agent Carter? Are we going to get, you know, a lot of stuff we've seen in WandaVision? So yeah, I'm just anticipating a lot of balls to the wall, crazy shit. And I'm all for it. And I plan on seeing it in Dolby, the Dolby Theater, even though it's going to cost like $21, but I don't give a fuck. You know, it's, you know, I'm ready for it.
Right. Yeah, and to be honest, man, I've got to agree with you. So I think I spoke to Rashad as well about this, but my first experience of IMAX ever was for the Batman, which I think is similar to your guys' Dolby, I think. I'm not sure.
We have IMAX here too, but we have Dolby and IMAX, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Well, I think ours is just Dolby IMAX, like in one. I don't know. But anyway, that was like an amazing experience. So I don't blame you for kind of going to see Doctor Strange in that capacity if you can, because imagine like the sound effects as well. Like you know, it's the trailers already are just crazy for it. So yeah, I don't blame you. And Tyler, what about you, man? What are you most anticipated for this movie?
Well, so I originally, you know, Spider-Man was like the hype train for that was what was carrying me through the last end of the year. And I always kind of kept my hype for Doctor Strange kind of in check. He's not my favorite, so I was not like, you know, and it's multiverse, right? And you know you're going to get cameos. But I really am kind of more, it needs to be more than just cameos. So cameos never really got me like super excited, because it's kind of a given when you have a title called Multiverse of Madness. And you can, you know, so it's, for me, it's like the story. It's like, well, where are they going to take Doctor Strange as a character, right? And so that's the most intriguing part for me, is because it's like, cool, we get to learn maybe a little bit more about Doctor Strange as a character, and where is he going to go? What's his journey in the movie going to be about? You know, that's what I'm most anticipated for, besides the cameos.
Right. Yeah, and I think they kind of like left it on like a cliffhanger after like No Way Home, because obviously he makes the spell for Tom Holland's Peter Parker, and he's like, right, yeah, everyone kind of forgets who he is as such, and then you don't really see him after that. You just get the post credit scene of like the Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness trailer. But yeah, like this one, it looks like there's like a couple of incarnations of Doctor Strange, and yeah, I kind of like get where you come from, like where they're going to take his character next and how he's going to be involved like with future events going forward. Because I'm assuming he's not going to get killed in this movie. And Perez, what about you, man?
Yeah, I got to kind of piggyback on what Tyler was saying. Like, I'm hoping that this movie is more than cameos, right? Because it's going to be amazing. Those moments are going to be crowd cheering moments in the theater, undoubtedly. But upon rewatch, right, I think, like, for instance, like No Way Home, I think what part of what makes that movie work so much is they didn't just bring in these characters to be like, hey, look, it's Dr. Octopus. Hey, look, it's Green Goblin. Hey, look, it's Tobey Maguire, and so on and so forth. They had a pivotal role to play in the story and the character development and everything that's going on. So it really brought, the 5 Spider-Man movies that came out before the Tom Holland stuff all together with everything, and also furthering the narrative of the MCU at the same time. So it had a lot to do, and it executed it really well. So I do hope that, I'm okay with some fun little cameos, like Guardians of the Galaxy with like a Howard the Duck kind of like cameo. Like, I'm okay with like little cameos in the movie like that. And I'm sure with the multiverse we'll get that. But I'm just hoping, kind of like what Tyler says, that it pushes the narrative forward, pushes this character forward to a new area. But yeah, it is exciting to see the previews that have come out. Have you guys been keeping up with the TV spots at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the TV spots
I have.
are dropping a lot more than the actual trailers have. I think it goes without. Let's just jump to one. As we said, we're going to touch about the stuff that's in the trailers and stuff. Just one of the examples. We obviously in that original trailer we hear Patrick Stewart's voice. Everybody knows that iconic voice. Everybody's like,
What?
You've seen the trailer, right?
No, I saw the teaser, but I didn't watch anything after that because I wanted to come in like, fully not really knowing anything.
Man, I was gonna get into some theories that I was really kind of
right.
But it's cool though. But I'm like, huh?
Yeah. So in the trailer, that especially the one that if you go see a movie in theaters right now, like I feel like I've seen it in front of every movie that they've played it in front of. There's that part where Chiwetel or Ejiofor's character tells Strange, like, you will have to answer for your crimes or whatever, and he's being led into a room with by like these Ultron robots, essentially like Ultron droids, and he goes in there. You hear a guy saying like, we should tell him the truth, and it's Patrick Stewart. Like, it, you can hear you can see the back of his bald head. It's Patrick Stewart.
It's his voice, yeah,
right. It's his voice. It's iconic. Everybody knows it. The speculation is that group that we see there in that room is the Illuminati. I believe that's what they're called in the comics. Which is like essentially like kind of like a multiverse kind of like hierarchy. I guess it's the best way to kind of like almost like a set of leaders from different multiverses in a way. And in the TV spot that they released recently, which I'm assuming Tyler's the only one who's seen it, you have as well. Okay, they show that clip again, and they actually show anybody who saw the 90s X-Men show back in the day, they show just the bottom part of the torso where you see his hand on it, the yellow like floating wheelchair that Patrick Stewart, or not Patrick, that Xavier would ride around in the original X-Men movie or X-Men show. So it's clear we're going to get a lot in this movie, and so I'm just very curious to see how they tie it all in. And I know I've talked a lot longer than I meant to, but there's just.
Have you heard the theory behind that?
Feel free to throw it out,
dude. I forget where I heard this, but I heard this like a few months ago. So the X-Men animated series is a multiverse that those guys will be ripped from. So they will be taken from that multiverse into live action. But that whole cartoon took place simultaneously next to the MCU in a different multiverse. In this movie, we're just going to get them ripped from that cartoon into live action. I don't know if that's all going to happen, but if that does, that's insane.
I think
that explains the new, because they're bringing back the 90s X-Men, right, for the Disney Plus series, so that makes a lot of sense.
Well, well, I think that could very well happen because have you guys ever heard of a YouTube channel called The Canadian Lad?
No.
Yes.
Okay, so for you guys that don't know the Canadian lad, basically he takes any Marvel movies or DC movies and he breaks them down and he watches them in 0.25x speed. And in the Doctor Strange main trailer that you see in the cinemas and that kind of stuff, he broke that down. And when there's a point where he's grabbing like America Chavez, or she's like holding on to him, there's a part where it breaks down where it goes into like cartoon version in the movie, like it actually goes like animated style. So I don't know if they're going to incorporate like the What If styles there, or maybe that X-Men style more into that and like bring that in to it. So it's going to be crazy. So I'll tell you what, we'll start with Rashad because he hasn't really seen many of the trailers or TV spots. So Rashad, so for example, in this scene that Perez was describing where Doctor Strange is led into this hall and there's like 7 chairs presented and one of them is Charles Xavier, as it's kind of been said. Who would you like to see in those remaining chairs?
Oh shit, that's a good question. I don't know. Like I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that we're gonna get like 90s version Charles Xavier in here, man. Patrick Stewart. That's like, as a kid, that was a dream come true to see. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know. Like, tomorrow, who to see as far as like the Illuminati?
Or like who would you like to see as in like say past MCU movies and stuff like that? Like who would you like?
I mean, well, obviously, look, I guess we're gonna get some. I guess the X-Men sort of. So I'm excited to see if they're gonna bring some of the X-Men in there, Wolverine and Storm and Cyclops and everybody. I would like to see the Fantastic Four. Maybe they'll get introduced this time. Because I just heard didn't the director like walk out or quit or something like that? The guy that was supposed to direct Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah, he took a break.
Yeah, those would okay. Yeah, I would love to see the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and Doctor Doom. If we can get a glimpse of him, and I'm assuming we're gonna get Kang the Conqueror in there, like the first time really seeing him in full Kang form.
Right.
So like those are the main ones I would like to see in there.
Yeah, I think that's a great shout because in Moon Knight, in the first episode, when Oscar Isaac's character is very Stephen Grant or Mark, whoever at that point, he's driving like this ice cream truck or whatever it is, and he's driving it backwards, and the box supplies in that truck actually says like Victor Von Doom or like Von Doom in there.
Oh, really?
The box.
Okay.
So I think it's coming very shortly, and obviously they've announced a Fantastic Four movie. Right. So I think like seeing someone part of the Fantastic Four, which John Krasinski has been rumored to be taking the role of Mr. Fantastic, whether that's true or not, obviously we don't know.
Right.
But I think that is coming, and I think Doctor Doom is one of my kind of favorite villains.
Yeah.
As bad as maybe the Fantastic Four movies have been in the past, although they're kind of guilty pleasures for me, I would still like to see like Victor Von Doom appear in some capacity.
Well, I don't know why they can't get him right, man. Like for years, like going back to the 1994 for some reason, he's like you say, he's one of the best villains in the Marvel universe, and this is the guy they cannot get right. Like how the hell you get Ant-Man right, but you can't get Doctor Doom right? I don't understand it.
Different leadership, my friend.
You know, that's true. That's true. Yeah, we haven't seen what the MCU can do with them. So yeah, that's a good point.
Right. and what about you, Perez? Obviously, being a comic book fan as well and reading some of these comics, who would you like to see appear in the Multiverse Madness?
Well, based on some of the stuff that's come out already, I can't help but speculate that part of that Illuminati group there will probably be, I believe it's called the Superior Iron Man, that there's rumored that, what's his name? Tom Cruise is going to be playing. I have a feeling we're going to see that there. Clearly, we're seeing various iterations of Doctor Strange in the movie. We see in the trailer that there's the evil version, obviously playing on What If. If you've seen the TV spot, you know that there's a shot of we got a back behind shot of Captain Carter, obviously from What If as well. You see her shield. So clearly, this movie is going to 110% acknowledge What If. If you missed out on What If, you're fucked. And there's just no getting around it. Like, and I think kind of like what Rashad was saying earlier, it's true. Like if you don't keep up with all the Marvel stuff at this point, you're going to get left behind. It's kind of how I feel about Star Wars too. It's like, you don't keep up with all of it, you're not going to fully be able to appreciate everything. You can still follow it, but it's like, I feel like if you go into this without having seen Loki, the idea of the variants, I'm sure they'll explain it enough for you to follow it in this movie, but the idea of the variants may be a little bit jarring, you know what I mean? I'm assuming now that we've seen Spider-Man, people will probably be able to follow it a little bit more. But I think that Loki really set the foundation. So moving forward into this, one of the things that you see in that shot when they show the Illuminati is just like the person on the very far left. And I've seen people like zoom in on it and talk about it. But I think that the person to the very far left kind of looks like Black Panther. And I would love to see a like variant version of T'Challa, if they could do something with like, Marvel and just Disney in general. They have all that money and that ability to work with ILM to create pretty great visual effects. Mm-hmm. So that could be a pretty awesome moment. But what's up, Q? How's it going, man? But yeah, overall, in terms of like cameos that I'm expecting to see there and that Illuminati specifically, for sure, we know Xavier is one of them. I have heard the rumors of the Mr. Fantastic thing as well. That could definitely be a route. But there's been so many rumors of all these small cameos. I mean, everybody from Wolverine to Deadpool to, literally everybody and their mother. And I feel like there might even be a moment where we see through all these different multiverses and kind of get glimpses and images of these various characters. You know what I mean? I feel like that's probably how a lot of the cameos will make appearances. There was rumors that Wanda would be fighting some X-Men characters from the Fox X-Men universe. Or at least those versions, the castings of those characters, maybe they're from the X-Men animated show, like that, those iterations, but in general, like the actual actors playing the roles, there's been rumors of that. But yeah, man, there's just so much. It's hard to really narrow it down. I do want to, piggyback on what Rashad was saying, though. It would be amazing to have Dr. Doom in the MCU done properly. And something tells me they wouldn't do it in this movie unless they hint at it. But, I truly believe that now that they've set up Kang to be the next big villain for the next wave, he's going to be the next Thanos. It only makes sense that after Kang is destroyed that we get either Doom or Galactus. I feel like those are going to be probably one of the next big ones. It has to be one of them. I'm actually surprised that we're getting Kang the Conqueror before Doom or Galactus, but, I am curious to see what they end up doing. But yeah, as far as like who I want to see on that Illuminati or who I expect to see, it's tough, man. But I really, every time I see the trailer, I wait for that moment and I do a quick like squint and stare at the screen a little bit closer. And I really do feel like that person on the very left in the trailer is Black Panther. So I'm actually really hoping that that's the case.
Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting one because I know obviously they've announced Black Panther 2 and I think that's slated to be released this year, like towards the end. And I think they've said at the time not going to use CGI to put in Chadwick Boseman. So it'll be interesting to see if they do that because I think in the What If series they have Star-Lord as T'Challa, or is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think it'd be interesting if they do that. I think one cameo I think we can expect to see, and I don't know if you guys will know about this as well, but of course Sam Raimi has come back to helm this movie and been far too long since he did a Marvel movie, and I'm so glad that he's back and he's kind of want to take the reins again and jump and ball in this. I think at some point we're going to see a Bruce Campbell cameo because
for sure.
every Spider-Man movie in the original ones, and my partner Emma, who's a huge Bruce Campbell fan, thinks that it'd be a perfect time to cross over Ash from Evil Dead with the zombies. But I guess we'll see on that one. Or he might be the French waiter in Spider-Man 3 and come back. Exactly. Who knows? Personally, I would like to see the guy who says rent. I mean, that would be cool. Imagine asking Doctor Strange like all 3 versions for rent. That would be cool. But Tyler, what about you, man? Who would you like to see appear in this?
Having Toby back and those guys back would be super cool. I don't know if it's going to happen necessarily, but Bruce Campbell is in every Sam Raimi movie, so he's almost a lock. He's going to be in it. Man, I don't know. I would say the one I'm looking forward. So I think Tom Cruise, I'm on the fence with that one. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I'm 50-50. I'll honestly be surprised if he's in it. I think so. Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman both met with Kevin Feige like a year and a half ago or something like that. And they posted on their Instagram, like they met with each other. They made it public. So that got me very interested because I'm like, well, why would the two of them be meeting with Kevin Feige if we're not going to get both of them in Multiverse of Madness? Like they're, it's like when Kevin wants to meet you, Kevin Feige's the producer of the MCU, the big guy that's making it all happen for those who don't know. So yeah, if you're meeting with Kevin, you're talking about something big. So
Right.
my thing's Hugh Jackman for sure. That's what I hope. That's my hope.
Dude, that's gonna be if that happens, that's gonna be like the Andrew Garfield moment in No Way Home when Hugh Jackman comes out. The crowd is gonna go fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I think when we get to that point in the movie where I think it's going to be about maybe middle of the movie, like they did with like Andrew Garfield and Tobey's reveal in Spider-Man No Way Home,
right?
Where when they get to that Illuminati seat and the 7 of them, I think they're slowly going to go one by one, and they're not just going to show you the full 7. They're going to go one by one because imagine, well, I'd see more in America because when here in England when they showed Spider-Man No Way Home. When they revealed Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, and bear in mind this was like 9 o'clock in the morning when they see the movie, the reactions was like kind of people like just like yay, but there was no like kind of like craziness like you guys in America probably had like full on, I've seen some of the reaction videos from theaters that they went nuts.
Right. Yeah.
It was crazy. It was a big pop from the crowd.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you were like me, who was sitting in between 2 females who I don't think could care less. I think they were with their it was so awkward because I wanted to like scream and shout, but they were like they could care less, man. I was like, well, this is strange.
Damn.
But yeah, I think with Doctor Strange, I mean, it would only make sense if they did them one by one reveals and then Patrick Stewart right at the end because he's in the middle of it all. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see what happens. So here's my next question, and we're going to start with Perez this time. So with this movie, obviously we've kind of gathered that Wanda is going to become like Scarlet Witch. Something is going to happen where she's maybe kind of like manipulating Doctor Strange when he's in this field of like the white trees or whatever it is, and she might be like the kind of main villain that's kind of causing some of this. Obviously, we don't know. But what would you like to see happen with Wanda in this movie? Would you like to see kind of like a full turnaround and she's back to her normal self? And
No. Listen, let me tell you. So for anybody who's not familiar with Wanda in the comics, she is one of the biggest villains in all of Marvel. Like, and people don't think that because she's kind of just been like, a hero. And she, in the comics, she has joined the Avengers. She has been a good person. But for anybody who's not familiar, she is, in the comics at least, she is Magneto's daughter. Just for the sake of like, where she comes from with her brother being Quicksilver. The 3 of them, their storyline in general is just filled with tragedy, and her character, had they gone a little bit more comic book accurate, I think she would have been a villain way sooner. They went with a different approach. I can appreciate it. I like different adaptations of these characters, but she is definitely like one of the strongest villains that the MCU has. There are storylines. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the X-Men Evolution cartoon from back in the day, but the whole story arc that they build around Wanda was just dark, and she is just powerful. Like nobody can stop her. Like in that show, like she would just decimate everything and anyone in front of her. So I'm happy to finally see them doing that, because if she gets stronger and stronger and stronger, she could very well be slowly being set up to be one of, if not the big bad of at least a section of the MCU where they make, because she in the comics gets so strong at certain points that they could easily have the Avengers face solely her. Which I think the movies have not really shown that potential. But since WandaVision, they're finally starting to do it. So to see her in this, and she looks far more menacing. She's right at the center of the poster that they've recently released, obviously seen as one of the main bads of the movie. So I just wanted to see them commit to it. I think at this point, right, it's kind of like, I don't know, like there are plenty of villains in the comic books that have turned good at certain points. But I don't know. I guess at this point, like imagine if we did get Doctor Doom, and he's a bit of an exaggeration, but imagine if we did get Doctor Doom, and for like all these movies he's been with the Avengers, you'd be like, dude, like, come on, I know you're Doctor Doom. Like, let's see you fucking kick ass and start destroying everything. And that's kind of how I feel about Wanda. I feel like her character has so much potential, and there's so many great stories they could pull from that have her at the forefront of being this massive villain that people cannot deal with, and that she's in their mind and she's just warping the world around them. And so I just really hope they really just lean into how villainous she truly is in the comics.
Right. Yeah, and that's a really cool perspective because, like I said, I've never read any of the comics, so I wouldn't have known any of that. And we only just started to get like slowly in like WandaVision, like a true potential, and like with the dark arts book and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a cool perspective. And what about you, Rashad? Do you kind of agree with that with Perez, or would you like to see Wanda go like a different route?
Yeah, I mean, because dude, when you watch WandaVision, you really see how powerful she is. That she created this whole town, this whole this universe of her own, out of her own trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I'm like, did this chick just create she took these people and was able to brainwash them and hold it. You know what I'm saying? And keep him as a certain character. I'm like, by the end, I said, this bitch is bad. She's nothing to play with. So yeah, I agree, especially when you know what somebody's capable of, and for years you see them like, I guess, chained up or just like really restrained, like no, like go, like let her go free. And I guess we're gonna get that in this movie. So yeah, I'm with Perez on that one, man. I want to see what she could really do when she's just full, blackout, Vader mode, killing younglings and shit. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that Wanda. Right.
Yeah, I think it's a cool perspective because especially in the WandaVision when she takes over this entire town and she's like brainwashed them all. It really kind of shows, as you guys mentioned, like from the comic books, as Perez was saying, like her true potential. Because like in kind of the Marvel movies, for part she was like kind of a bit in the background, and now she's starting to get more the center of the attention, more of the forefront, and being like, well, actually, this character who you thought was, she's a cool hero and she's got these abilities. Now we're truly seeing like what she's made of. And I think, as you guys have said, I think there's a lot of potential there where they could explore that. A question for Tyler this time. I'm going to change it up slightly. So in WandaVision, of course, we see the whole point is, she's upset about all like Vision's death in Infinity War. But then at the end of it, we can get that clone Vision, like the white version. Do you think that version's going to come into this movie and maybe play some part to Wanda's character?
Yes, I think Wanda's been manipulating things behind the scenes that we don't even know about. There's the rumor. So in the comics, she has the line "No more mutants," where she basically eliminates all mutants from the universe. Okay. I wonder if there's going to be if that's kind of what's going to happen at the end of this movie, where there's she does something that changes the universe forever. If they want to tie it into Magneto, right? Because that's what I would love. I would love for them to kind of retroactively be like, oh, Sokovia was like, she made all that up, right? Like that wasn't really her backstory. That was a coping mechanism for her. Like she's been doing things behind the scenes that we didn't even know about. And Magneto comes in and ties, whether that's Ian McKellen or that's Michael Fassbender from a different unit. I don't know how they're going to tie it in, but I would love to get that X-Men tie with her. And yeah, she obviously wants her kids, right? That's her main goal, is to get that family unit back and get Vision back and everything. So, and just the dynamics between like the juxtaposition of Strange messing with the multiverse and her messing with the multiverse, and that line she has in the trailer where it's like, well, you do it and you're a hero, and I do it and I get punished. Like that's not fair. Like I'm excited to see that dynamic, and that's basically right. I think the center question at the end of this, at the center of this movie, is like, when who's able to mess with the multiverse, right? Who has the like authority to mess with the multiverse, and who doesn't, and who decides that? I think that's going to be very cool to see.
Right, and yeah, I think that'd be kind of a cool dynamic because, like, as you guys have all touched on, and Perez was saying as well, like at this point we've had like so many Disney TV shows of like WandaVision, Loki, Hawkeye, etc., and What If, and now they're like truly bringing all that in to these movies to the point where you have to have seen those series, otherwise you're going to be confused a bit and be like, well, what's truly going on? And yeah, I think that kind of dynamic is one of the most things I'm excited for, being like, well, Strange does it, like you said, like he's the hero, but Wanda does it, she's the villain. So how does that kind of work? And I hope that in this movie, despite whatever cameos that we get, or despite whatever characters appear, etc., I hope like Doctor Strange really gets like his movie. I hope it's not just like cameo central, to the point where like Doctor Strange feels like kind of like a background character in his own movie. That's what I'm hoping for. So I've got another question for you guys, and this is kind of leaning towards maybe the end of the movie. So I think in overall, I don't think Doctor Strange is going to get killed off or anything like that. I might be wrong, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I tell you what, I'm going to start with Rashad this time. So end Doctor Strange, it happens to say, for example, Strange has fixed the multiverse for now. He's okay. Wanda's done X, Y, and Z, and she's kind of gone off somewhere. What would you like to see in a post-credit scene?
In a post-credit scene,
or what direction would you like it to go in the future? Obviously involved in the post-credit scene.
Oh shoot, I don't even know, man, because this multiverse thing has just opened up so many cans of worms and just so many, infinite possibilities. I don't know what to expect, and I guess that's a good thing because I don't know what's coming. I can't see what's coming. So
Right.
as far as like a post credit, I don't have an answer, man. I don't know. I'm just I'm in for the ride just like everybody else, and it's very hard for me to call it, but like you said, I hope this is Doctor Strange's movie and not just a movie about the multiverse that just has Doctor Strange's name on it just for the sake of Doctor Strange. No, I want him to have his own, his own joint. You know what I mean? But I do have a quick question. So all this whole multiverse shit, this is because of No Way Home, right? Because of Peter Parker, okay? Which is going to lead me to do another video. My next You Ain't Shit video is going to be about Peter Parker, No Way Home. Because I rewatched that again recently, okay? And the more I watch that movie, the more pissed off I get because all of this could have been avoided, though it has to happen, but all this could have been avoided if Peter would have just kept his mouth shut. Let him do it. Let him do his thing. And no. But okay, but Hogan, okay, Happy Hogan. No. But MJ, no, Aunt May. I'm like, shut up. Jesus Christ. And because we lose Aunt May. Yeah. So be on the lookout for that real soon. Peter Parker ain't shit. Sorry.
That's what's so great. That's what's so great about the trilogy and so great about his character.
Right.
Is he's gonna the long game to see him grow into the Spider-Man we know. I think that's the fun.
Yeah.
That's the fun.
Yeah. Which happened at the end, so it did feel like an origin story to the real Spider-Man. But prior to that, I wanted to smack the shit out of him so many times, man.
Hey, and that's a risk on the studio. They're like, all right, we're gonna make people kind of borderline hate this guy before he becomes the Spider-Man we love. It's like, okay. That was a risk.
Yeah, well, even the fight he had with Strange, he was like, dude, I got into a fight with Doctor Strange and I totally won. Shut up. I hated that.
Well, Rashad, I've got a question for you. So obviously you said, like, look, you don't know what way this is going to go. You don't know what you want to see next. Would you like to see, in this Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, all three Incredible Hulks appear? So Edward Norton, of course, Mark Ruffalo, and the person who played the first, I can't remember the name, but the first person as well.
Oh, what's my like Lou Ferrigno? Oh, dog, hey, I would lose my fucking mind. Yeah. With this whole multiverse thing, hopefully they can fix the Hulk, right? Like fix the Hulk, fix what they've done to him. And see, I don't know why you got me started, Mike. Fix what they did with the Hulk, okay? Take that professor shit out of there. That whole arch eyebrow version of the Hulk we see in Ragnarok. Scrap that. Bring him back to the Savage Hulk, and then build from there. Okay, go with the Mr. Fix-It and divert the World War Hulk and all that. Let's go with that direction. Forget that silly shit that they have him doing. So yes.
The thing about the Hulk is because it's all about the studios, right, and who has control. Right now, Universal has owned that IP forever, right, and so they can't. And I think that's why they don't know what to do with him, or they probably have plans, but they can't because Universal still has the rights to those movies.
Right.
So if there's ever going to be a solo Hulk movie, it's got to come from Universal, not Marvel Disney. So once Universal's able to maybe let that go for X amount of money, then, but yeah, I think Marvel's hands are kind of tied with the Hulk, which is sad because, I want to see the Hulk. I'm not a fan of the direction they took the Hulk either, but.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, I know, Rashad. I think you'd lose your mind. I think, especially in the review, that I would love to see that happen in your review.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'll tell you what, we'll move it over to Perez. So Perez, obviously being a big comic book fan and reading these comics, what do you want to see happen at the end of Doctor Strange, going into a post-credit scene leading to the future of the next? Because I don't know if I'm mistaken, but is the next project after Doctor Strange, is it Miss Marvel? Is that right?
I think it's the Marvels. Or are you talking about I think there's Miss Marvel on Disney Plus, might be the next one that drops.
Yeah.
As far as the movies,
Doctor Strange release wise.
Yeah. I think it's Miss Marvels, which I'm looking forward to. I think that's a character that's gonna probably turn off some people because of the fact that she's a young girl. And if you've ever seen anything that features her character or play there's that Avengers game that came out a few years ago. Her character essentially is a super fan of the Avengers, and when she becomes a superhero, she wants to be a hero, but it's a little bit of harder challenge for her, and she's got a bit of kind of goofy powers. She's definitely going to be something more for the younger audience of people to get latched onto, which is clear they're going to set up the young Avengers. They've been slowly doing it. You know, you have Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye show. Now this America Chavez, like all these characters that they're starting to set up, like they're clearly going to start setting up the young Avengers, which I'm excited to see. Like I think that they could set up for something really, really cool. The West Coast Avengers as well. Like there's all these various Avengers teams that they could start to set up. They're also setting up like the Dark Avengers with things like what's his name? I had a brain for it. The dude from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah.
U.S. Agent.
The U.S. Agent. U.S. Agent. Yeah. Like him, and I think like Zemo, if I'm not mistaken, are in the like Dark Avengers and stuff. So I feel like they're starting to set up these various teams. I believe Florence Pugh's character Yelena is also part of the Dark Avengers. So moving forward, though, with this movie, it's hard. I kind of have to agree with Rashad. It's hard to tell what even is going to happen in this movie. So to even think about what a post-credit scene would be, who knows? But based on everything that's being set up, I almost hope that maybe the post-credit scene is something that kind of fuses some of the universes together. And, you know, I think if there's movies that have, you know, been detached and they can kind of slowly kind of, you know what, here's what I really say. The one thing I would say I'd like to see, based on the fact that we're seeing X-Men characters in this, something needs to happen in the universe for mutants to make sense in this world. And the reason I say that is because even as a kid, I've always loved the X-Men storylines, like cartoons, video games, comics, whatever. But it never really made sense to me when you had the X-Men alongside the Avengers. And a reason for that is because a huge part of the X-Men narrative at all times is prejudice. That's one of the biggest things around their characters, is that they constantly have to be in hiding, obviously pulling from real life prejudices and different things like that to tell their stories. But like that is what the X-Men has always really heavily relied on. You know, it just goes to that, like the first movie. I'm currently in a rewatch right now of all the X-Men movies. And, you know, there's that great line at the beginning of the first one where, Magneto says to Xavier, "We are the future, Charles, not them." You know, like there's stuff like that. There's the us and them kind of situation, and it is weird to think of a series that has the X-Men involved and mutants involved, while the masses are like, "Yay, Captain America and Hulk!" Like, you know, like the people in the, like, they literally, now we've seen in Hawkeye that they have like there's a whole musical around these guys, you know, so like they're clearly celebrated by the world that they exist in. And so I think something would need to happen, maybe in a post-credit scene or something, to kind of fuse the universe in a way where that can start to make a little sense. Because I can't imagine them bringing a mutant storyline into the MCU without acknowledging the prejudice element of it. And does that mean that now the Hulk and Captain America, or, you know, obviously Falcon and the Winter Soldier and all those other characters, are they going to be looked at now as like mutants? You know what I mean? Are they going to kind of have that prejudice against them? So that's what I like to see. And I also want to kind of piggyback on what you and Rashad said about the fact that, yeah, I really do hope this movie doesn't become, I think Tyler said the same, I hope it does not become a cameo show. And I hope that it relies on Doctor Strange 100%, like in that storyline. And I think a good example of a movie that I think they nailed it was Captain America Civil War. It's essentially like an Avengers film, but it is central on Captain America and his struggle with everything going on with Winter Soldier. And I think they balanced that story really well. So I'm hoping as we move forward that with big ensemble movies like this, they can kind of tackle it in a similar way.
Right. Well, I have a quick question. So there was a name given to because we get introduced to Wanda and Quicksilver in Age of Ultron, right? But I guess at the time that they couldn't legally say mutants because 20th Century Fox still owned the rights to the X-Men. So I forgot the name that they gave them. So technically they are the first mutants, but they couldn't acknowledge them as mutants, right? So
I think they called them enhanced, if I'm not mistaken.
Enhanced, yeah. Well, even then, because mutants are born with their abilities, where I think in this one they were like created in a lab or whatever. They were experimenting on. That's how they became that way, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Right.
So I just want to be clear on that.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I would like to see how they integrate in the mutants who, you know, like if they ever want to play with something like Apocalypse, they would have to, you know, like they'd have to, he will have had to existed long before, meaning that there would have had to have been a huge lineage of mutants already. So if they're able to kind of fuse the worlds, it could be interesting to see like an MCU world that doesn't know, or at least the MCU that we've been following, that doesn't know about mutants, that somehow through this multiverse now gets fused with a world where there's mutants everywhere, kind of building up a new prejudice and maybe having the world kind of fear the Avengers now, thinking that they have been these mutants all along. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool take. And I think, if they're going to blend all this together, as you were saying, I think one thing for me, like with the X-Men movies, is like the movie about Apocalypse was completely wasted. And Apocalypse has always been kind of like a big name I've known since being a kid. And I love that character. And I felt like in the movie, they just squandered that character. And I feel like if they're going to do this multiverse and say they bring characters back, like say like Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin and Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus, and they're still alive in their universes now, well, what it seems like anyway, they could really bring these characters back and have them like as villains still though, and be like, right, well, the Fantastic Four or X-Men movies going forward can face Apocalypse because he's still alive, whatever the case should be. But Tyler, what about you, man? Have you got any kind of added thoughts or what you would like to see personally? Or
I just, we touched on the Wanda thing, and I that's kind of what I guess at the resolution, what I want to, I want them to tie everything up. That'd be nice, but I want Wanda to be the villain that we all kind of want to see. That's my biggest thing. Where I'm like, yeah, let's just get her there. Let's have her, let her do her thing, because Elizabeth Olsen has signed on for like I think the next 10 years or something like that. Like she signed a big contract to be around for a long time. So get excited.
Yeah. I think one of the things that Marvel absolutely nails is the contracts, because of DC, the contracts are just like out the window. They can never keep one character as that character 9 times out of 10. I think personally what's going to happen in a post-credit scene, and it might be the second post-credit scene, because I feel like they're going to do something in this post-credit scene, because this movie's hyped up to be amazing. It's kind of in a sense like hyped up to be better than No Way Home in terms of like kind of cameo-wise and this multiverse concept. I wouldn't be surprised in one of the post-credit scenes we see Deadpool, because I don't think in the movie it would fit in as well, unless obviously with the X-Men, but I feel like him at the end, even just giving a big thumbs up like that, like would kind of just tease people being like, oh shit, like he's coming in. And because I've heard that they're going to keep him like R-rated as such when they do bring him in, and they're still going to keep that age rating, and he's still going to be the same character as he has been in past 2 movies. So it's going to be interesting to see. But we're going to be wrapping this up because I know Rashad has got work tonight. So I'll tell you what, we'll take it one by one. Rashad, can you tell everyone about what's coming up on your channel?
As of right now, well, I'm reviewing a new HBO series called We Own This City. It's like The Wire. So I got like those reviews coming up now, and of course Multiverse of Madness coming up this week. I want to go see it Thursday. If not Thursday, then definitely Friday. You'll have that review. Look out for that Peter Parker ain't shit video. I'm definitely working on that one. And I got a couple of live streams planned because I do my retro Sundays where I review retro movies. So this Sunday coming up, well, I was supposed to do with you, Mike, call it, Rambo, but you're gonna be doing the Multiverse of Madness spoilers. So instead, I'm gonna be doing Purple Rain with Blacktastic Media and Jacob. That's gonna be an interesting one. And so far, that's it as far as what I got coming up right now.
Awesome. And yeah, for anyone who's watching who isn't subscribed to Rashad, definitely go subscribe to him, because this guy, he does TV reviews, as he says. Also, I challenge you to watch a dinner and a movie video without making some food afterwards, because I always do. I always give into it. And yeah, honestly, such an amazing guy, and definitely go subscribe to Rashad. Tyler, my man, what have you got coming up apart from your rendered image, what you do weekly, which if you guys aren't familiar with, Tyler does a weekly stream kind of with 2 of his friends, and they talk about kind of like movie topics, movies they've maybe seen and stuff. So yeah, Tyler, what have you got going on?
Yeah, so we got those coming up. Let's see. I'm obviously going to see Doctor Strange on Thursday. After work, I'll be getting that. So there'll be a review of that on Thursday night. And then, yeah, the rendered image usually comes up on Saturday in the afternoon. So that's what we got going on.
Awesome. And are you going to be doing a review for Doctor Strange as well?
Yes, we'll be doing a Doctor Strange review, and then probably, what did we say? I think we said either Sunday we're going to do a spoiler review, because I think all the guys on my show will have seen it by then. So I think we're going to try to get that rendered image next week will be a spoiler review. So
nice. Awesome. And yeah, for anyone who's not subscribed to Tyler as well, please go over and subscribe to Tyler. I think he's on about, is it 320, 330 subscribers?
317 right now. So thank you guys. If you're going to subscribe, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, let's get him to 500 and get that community tab. He definitely deserves it. And last but not least, the main man, Perez. What have you got coming up for everyone to look forward to?
Well, right after this, I'm going to watch The Twin, which is a new film that I know Mike just dropped a review for as well, that we got to check out a little bit early, coming on the horror streaming service Shudder. So I'm going to be watching that and dropping a double review for another screener for a movie that's coming out this week. One, a documentary called Wuhan that's about Wuhan in China during the pandemic, about 2 months into the pandemic. It's an interesting documentary. I have some thoughts on it that I'll give in that review. And then The Twin, as I mentioned. And other than that, I'm currently working through the X-Men series on my channel. The last one I just dropped was The Wolverine. And next is Days of Future Past. So it's been a lot of fun covering those movies. I got the Harry Potter series about to start on my channels with Rashad. Which I think is going to be pretty polarizing depending on who's watching it. I have so many series coming up. I have a bunch of collabs. I'm about to drop a collab with Trav Tries for Flight, the Denzel Washington movie, which I actually just watched for the very first time. About to start my series on the Jaws series with D Movie Man over on my channel as well. And I was talking to Mike. I'm going to be bringing back my live stream series, Random Rambling, very soon. Which for anybody who's not familiar, essentially just like a long form conversation. So yeah, I got plenty of coming out, man.
Okay, well, Wolf, I want to say one thing, Perez. Goddamn it! Now, for you not to invite me on any X-Men movies, I'm insulted. Okay, you know I love the X-Men joints. You ain't invite me for one. No, you save me for all the Harry Potter joints. Okay.
Hey. We don't need to bash the Harry Potter. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no. I ain't saying that. I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. I didn't get invited for X-Men, but for Jaws, you definitely gotta have me in Jaws because I love that franchise. Even though each movie got worse, but I love the Jaws franchise. So you gotta have me on at least one of those. Damn it.
Yes. All right, we can make that happen for sure. But I definitely wanted to have you on for a whole series, just you and me, Harry Potter. For anybody who's not seen the videos that Rashad and I have done with each other, I mean, we could not like. Sometimes we like the same stuff, the action-packed, the horror stuff, whatever. But when it comes to certain movies, sometimes we have just been on the complete opposite end of things. And let's just say that Rashad was not a huge fan of the first Harry Potter. I'll wait for you guys
to watch this series.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the series when it starts, and I look forward to seeing if his opinion on the series changes with each movie. But we'll see what ends up happening.
But then again, listen, I don't know shit, man. Like I've learned one thing about myself this year is that like for example, what's the movie that just came out, The Northman? All right. Most people love The Northman. I think I'm the only person on YouTube. I try to find one bad review in that movie. I cannot find one bad review on it. I think I'm the only one, and I don't take pride in that. I genuinely did not like that movie, but everybody loved it. So maybe I just don't know shit about movies, man. I don't know.
I personally have seen some pretty divided takes on it. I saw it with my mom and my fiance, and I turned over and I liked it. And neither one, they were both like, like they had things they liked about it. I know that Esley, who's in our group from Entertainment Fanatic Reviews, he said he walked out of the theater. So you're definitely not alone on it. It's from the same writer who wrote Lamb, which is a movie that I saw just a few months back that I hated. And I think you saw it too, Rashad, and we both hated it. So I could see how the writing wouldn't work for you. I saw it in Dolby though. So I will say I think that the Dolby experience heightened it. And I like the screen was ginormous and those big epic Viking moments were great. But no, man, no. At the end of the day, the beauty, look at that. You're just relatable, bro. You're just relatable.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you.
Well, what I want to say very quickly is, please go over and subscribe to all my guests here, Tyler Babb, Anthony Perez, and Rashad G. All their links are in the description box down below, so you can find all their channels there. All guys have certain aspects to their channel that's really unique to them, and they definitely deserve all your support, so please go subscribe to them. Rashad, very quickly before we go, I just want to give you a heads up. The second Harry Potter is the worst one.
Wow.
The third one is incredible.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
I don't know if I can swear, but wow.
Hey, Tyler just had a Chris Rock moment. Wow. Wow. Mike just slapped the shit out of me. That was the greatest moment in the history of YouTube.
Right.
Okay, now with that, thanks for the heads up, man. I'll make sure I drink plenty of Zoa energy drinks. to keep me up. You know what I'm saying?
You'll still fall asleep.
Oh Jesus!
Oh man, it hurts my heart.
I don't agree with Mike on that. I'm with Tyler on this one.
No. Yeah.
We shall see.
Well, I'm not watching that review. Anyway, guys, but anyway, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in live or whether you're watching this after the fact. Again, go subscribe to all my guests joining me in this collaboration. And yeah, we will see you all later.
All right. Peace.
Bye.